Is it recording? Is that what yeah.
All right, take two, just to run through the overview, overlining it. So, Enzo's in Shadow Lounge, 1999, 1988, New Year's. He's overlooking the balcony. We're seeing the crowd, and we hear him say, after all the success I've had in life up until this point, and all the struggles I went through, how did my life change drastically? I'll tell you first what happened. No, or how did someone in this position hit rock bottom? Boom, I'll tell you how that happened. My family was blah, 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 his family, the whole thing, my father, my grandfather, Cuba, blah, blah, communist country, leaving the country, so forth. When they got to America, my father always, taught me to follow my dreams. So I ended up starting this world of nightlife and events and so forth with a lot of success in South Beach, Miami, the trend-setting city of nightlife and so forth. But I have to take you a little further back to show you how it really started. Let's go back to 1990. I was in LA, I was a young actor, I was 19, and I'm auditioning for Saved by the Bell, 90210, Melrose Place. I thought my life was going to change. I thought I was going to have an amazing future and career in acting. And suddenly I get a call from my girlfriend saying she's pregnant. I was going to have a boy at 19. So I immediately said, yeah, sure, let's do this. I flew back to Miami. I started the whole life. So we kind of show like a little bit of that visual of it. And then...
And left your dream.
And then you hear him say, you'll see like the family life, the hospital, the family life, like little things like that. And then you hear him say, but after much desire to have a family, I couldn't. They wouldn't support my passions, my dreams. They wanted me to work hard. I tried to work hard. I paid the bills. I did everything I could, but I wasn't satisfied. And then from there, after much, failures, back and forth, arguments, and so forth, I ended up divorced at a young age. Within a few years, and it's 1995, I was on top of my game again of nightlife. I had KGB, Lua's, Liquid, and Shadow Lounge. And there we talk a little bit. There we could do a little bit of dialogue of that world, where you see us walking around the streets, passing out flyers, things like that, meetings, a little bit of the nightlife parties, parties with like stars and celebrities and all that. And then it circles back to New Year's. So here we are back in New Year's, and suddenly things start changing. You see the arguments, that dialogue, the owner, this and that, the arguments with the partners at the time, with the girlfriend, the new girlfriend, which ended up being the baby's mom, my daughter's mom, all that kind of stuff. You see that world there, living it up with the girl. It's a lot of fast pace of like, that world, and then him and a girl in that world, Suddenly, here I am. I find out she's pregnant again, and we're living on the street. We end up on the street. This is how we ended up on the street. Boom. All this causes that. They're on the street. They're trying to get help from my parents, her parents. Everybody's like, no, this, that. I can't believe you guys have an abortion, this and that. And we were like, no, we're not going to have an abortion. There we end up with a sister of mine we end up going to this church. Ends up being a place where I used to do parties at, raves and all that kind of stuff, which were popular at that time. I'm 26. And I have that epiphany of faith and finding, God and wanting to change my life. Now I have a boy and a girl, what is life all about? So I start working again, and it's hit or miss, the pressures of the courts, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to start my own company. Boom. He starts Knock Entertainment, starts with a little party at Barcode, kills it, does it really well, goes recruiting all those guys before that. The owners from Crowbar come over. Crowbar ends up being like the top spot, and the party moves, and then there starts Knock Entertainment, and a nice 5 years of that world of nightlife. So there you have all the clubs, Mansion, they filmed Miami Vice in it, Amica, all these clubs, through that little timeline of those 6 years. So from Barcode to Crowbar to Amica to Mansion to Nikki Beach to Pearl to Privé to all these really, really big. We want to use the names, and we want to show that we can use fictitious names for the characters, but let's use the real names of the actual Miami history, And then there we show how they build the team, how they build the company, how they do everything from scratch, with $0, and then becomes an empire of money and wealth, and some parties are giving us like $20,000 cash, and we're walking out of there with cash, all that kind of stuff. A lot of meetings, our strategies, how we would plan, how we would promote, how we would use girl promoters, Farah, this girl Gato, this other girl Gina. We used all these girls. Our parties had a theme. We used the open format, which was a little bit of rock, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of electric, and just a little mix. Parties, Jamie Foxx would show up and get on the microphone. We had all the best DJs. This was like the top thing. That goes into me then saying, I'm on top of this world again, on a higher level now. We had at one point we had 9 parties a week, and we were like the top people. Yet I still wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied, even with all the money I made, all the success. I wasn't satisfied. And then you show like the double life, how he would party and then he would go and hang out with his kids, party, hang out with his kids. In one weekend he's gone to Orlando, and people are texting him to get on the list, and he's like, "Oh, I'm on vacation with my kids." So he had that double life, that people didn't know about, So you show his father, like he was always dedicated father, but every once in a while the moms, would take him to court if he ran late or something like that, But at the time everything went smooth, So I wouldn't show any of that there, because pretty much none of that happened until right after that, when he decides to break off out of the company, knock, and have some alone time or some epiphany faith moment where he starts writing his passion, his books, his films, his ideas. He had like all these ideas for films, so he starts writing. So you see him writing all the time, and he starts having moments of where he starts seeing that he is able to impact leaders, politicians, celebrities, athletes, famous people with his quotes and his motivation and his life coaching and all that stuff. And then from there, he continues. He goes right back into the nightlife for like one last hurrah, and he launches the whole downtown scene with a lot of success. Kardashians filmed at the Mia, the Blue Martini, the Epic, all that stuff. He would have all the stars again. He did it again, and then from there, all those clubs, Live, Story, all that stuff happened right around that time. And then from there, he has the pursuit of passion. I decided that my calling in life, or my passion in life, was to motivate others to fulfill their purpose in life. And then that circles back to that beginning scene where he's going up the stage and he's doing that. So the silver lining there, or the story there, is, how did someone who had success fall down to rock bottom? What was taking place in that rock bottom? And then how did he overcome it? So you had the courts, the divorces, the kids, the work stuff. You had the side stories of the family, my brother, the whole thing of him going to jail and stuff. So you had all these like climactic, dramatic points in there. And then he overcomes it when he decides to, even though he's had success, he's going to then follow his passion, which is to empower or motivate people to find their purpose in life. And then there he finds it, which is right here towards the end, right here. Boom. He finds his passion, he does it, and then you see him on stage, and maybe you could do like a thing where he's on stage talking, and he says, my story's a little different, than most people. I had success at an early age. My first passion was to make it in Hollywood. I lost that when I decided to become a father. And then I began to do nightlife and events, and I began to network with all of the world's most famous people and entrepreneurs and public figures and all that stuff. And even though I had success in the game of nightlife and events and hospitality and all that stuff in Miami, which was the trendsetter, I was never satisfied with the success, the finances, or the lifestyle, which is the fast lane, fast pace, whatever you call that, fast lane. But through all that, the ups and downs of that life, I found my passion, which is to motivate people to find their purpose in life. And then he gets off the stage, whatever, and then you have that one last quote at the end where he goes, "Life is pretty funny, You never know how it's going to turn out. But if you truly are passionate about something in life, I learned the hard way, that don't waste your time in life doing things that make you money or that you're not passionate about. But do what you were born to do," and something like that. We'll quote it. I can probably come up with a quote. So that's to just outline it and put it into a structure, and then a lot of this dialogue could be inputted in some of it, you know, and just tweak it, you know, make it more about the nightlife, and then just make it a blurb or a quick narration of the court, the kids, is that you make it into one paragraph. You know, I really tried really hard to do this didn't work out, blah 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 blah. You know, after much success and failure, things, you know, you just show the scenes while he's talking. For the difficult things. Then when you want to find a good one, you have the one here in the church, you have the one where he's in the street, and you have the one where he's leaving Knock, where you can put a lot of that really tough stuff. And then on the other ones, you could do that whole nightlife dialogue, you know, and then hear the motivational dialogue. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. We're all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
We're trying to accomplish this. I want to voice my concerns.
Sure.
In the sense that a lot of what you describe is a lot of scenes, a lot of moments, a lot of visual storytelling, like a documentary.
Kind of, yeah.
I feel like the way you want to tell the story
It's more like a documentary.
more like a documentary, kind of in the vein of a History Channel. You know how they do
Right.
the reenactment of
Yeah,
scenes? And so there's so much story that comes with your thing because it's from 1990 to like 2000, 2000s, that to tell that all in a thing, it comes off like a documentary because you're just telling events,
Right.
and you're not really, like, you're following a character on a journey, but you're not following a character on a journey. You're watching a character on a journey.
Right.
You're not experiencing it because you don't have as much of the meat.
Right.
And so what I come back to is this paper right here that you just wrote down, which is, you gave us the rock bottom, the struggle, and then the coming to the top and the medium. Yeah, you can look at those three things because these are the different the storylines that you said.
Right.
The one that has the meat, even
The rock
just
bottom.
from here, is the middle one.
The rock bottom.
The rock bottom, and that's what we wrote.
Right.
Because that's the meat of every. That's where your struggles.
The whole thing, and I don't think you gave it enough.
No. So this is what I'm saying. Watch. This is perfect. Just truncated into this structure.
I think that we can
You know what I mean?
definitely the way you talk about the beginning.
This stays. This is perfect. Watch this. What we're doing is restructuring the order, and then it'll change just small little areas here because they don't match the order. That's all. So it almost like this.
We weren't concerned much about the order as far as just getting everything out there.
So like these
in a
5
storytelling.
pages go right here. These 5 pages go right here. These 5 pages go right here. These 5. But these are like the transitions or the structure of it. So it's structured. The tweaking there, for example, on here. If you look, I think I wrote in one of these.
It might be one of the 3 pages.
Might be one of those, yeah. Yeah, it probably is. So what I'm trying to say is this is perfect. This is the rock bottom, right? But let's condense it so that we can show these moments in between the rock bottom, you know, so that it's structured into a timeline where this is just completely rock bottom from first page to all the way through, you know. I didn't see much. There's like little bits of the nightlife that are like 2-3 pages.
I wanted to talk to you about a specific scene to help us write it because, again, you experienced that and we didn't. There was 2 or 3 scenes that we needed to elongate in the nightlife,
which
that
are
we
highlighted.
needed you.
I
Which
saw
are
the gray.
highlighted ones.
The gray
yes.
stuff is stuff that you needed to input, which is the stuff that nightlife that we wanted
because
to
we
bring
know
out.
how important the nightlife thing is to you, and so when it came down to that nightlife stuff, we needed to sit down with you and really elaborate on
Buff
it.
it up.
So we
Right,
really
we'll do
wanted
that-
to
we'll
buff
do that
up
now.
the whole what you've talked about of the whole dressing of the thing. We wanted to use that to incorporate the beginning of Knock
Right.
and more of how Knock came to be.
Right.
But again, like when you talk about here, it's Knock. Watching Knock succeed is visually just event happening. What can you say and see in between there, because what is the movie gonna be? Montage, movie, and then montage. Like
No,
that's
what I'm trying to say is this is all good, but this is just rock bottom all the way through. It's almost like repeated it. If I go through, it's almost like the same thing over and over and over again. Like some of it we can truncate it and just show this happened. But with this order, see, 19, the boy, then the boy's stuff has to go onto that
yeah,
area.
no, that I believe
The daughter
that
part
won't be
goes
an
to the
issue.
daughter part. Where here it's a little bit mixed up.
Yeah.
And it's overplayed. So I'm reading through and I'm going, okay, it's the same thing over and over again. He's got this problem, this, that. He's going this, that, same problem. This kind of structures more of the story on a timeline. So you're seeing a little bit more than just this. Although this is the meat of it, you don't want to put it all into one. For example, one of the things I was sharing with jokes was when I read the first, I don't know how was it, the third, 25. I go, yeah. Right now, it's all the stuff that happened. He goes, yeah, but where's your world? I don't see your world. I just see you having problems. So if he's gonna vet it later on, I want to make sure we have this somehow placed into a timeline so that we show a little bit more than just the rock bottom. We definitely want to show the rock bottom because that's what people are gonna emotionally be attached to. That's what's going to catch
that's
the
what
audience.
people go to watch.
Exactly.
The journey of the
And
character,
identify.
the hero's journey.
But
You
don't want
as
it
a watcher,
to be
you're gonna identify.
right. But you don't want to see it the whole thing like that because then I'm going through this. And I'm going, but man, there's so much missing here that people would want to see.
Absolutely, but that's where I think the slight disconnect comes between us is that, which is why I'm voicing the concern is that there are a lot of cool things that we can show. Like there's a lot of stories that you've told us over the time. Like I can go back to the mobster one about the card.
Oh yeah, we'll go.
That's a very cool story that is very cool to watch. But what does it really have to do with the overarching story of your character's
I think
journey?
more than anything, just showing the world he was in. People have to understand the world he was in because they're gonna be like, oh, this guy was a disaster. But if they see the world he was in, they're gonna be, oh, no wonder. They're gonna be able to understand why he was going through this, you know what I mean, or what he was going through, and then it's very dramatized. I would go more like this stays the same. This doesn't have to change into like something like 100 pages. No, this is fine. What we do is we tweak it so that it fits into the timeline, and then we plug in this dialogue in here, this dialogue here, this one over here, this one over here, this one here, and then you just tweak whatever doesn't match. If it's talking about the daughter part, then we know it's over here. The son's over here. This we gotta put the son stuff. Just tweak it into it. This stays again. It's not like a redo. It's just somehow let's find a way to put it into this structure, so that when the film starts, you see there's. In other words, for example, when I watch a movie, if it's too slow, too much stuff, I already get I'm not even.
The first 2 minutes you're done.
Yeah, but if I see boom, action, I'm like, whoa, like we did with the documentary. The documentary started off super slow. We're all sitting in a room. First 30 minutes, it's like slow. We're all going, like, dude, this. I don't even want to watch this.
Because the beginning here, we talked about you
Right.
talk about your uncle and your dad,
Right.
but in a setting of
Cuba.
no, in a setting where you're in a stage.
Right.
But you don't watch you on
But
stage.
you don't want a
watch,
stage.
You watch the montage of your history and the grandparents and stuff like that. Like it's a series of shots.
Right.
However, I believe, I don't see an issue in adding the. Where's the first page?
That is one. That one.
The picking. No, it's the picking up of the. Of at 1998, because essentially that's where we pick up.
Right.
And cutting through telling your backstory of
Right.
when you're 19 years old and coming
Right.
back.
Well,
I don't
no,
have-
19 years old starting, because there's
No, coming back to Miami is what I was like. You were 19.
Yeah,
you were
when
in
you
LA,
came
and
from
you
LA.
went back to Miami.
When you came from LA.
And then that's where like your journey began, and then you eventually work your way back to
to
1999.
the New Year's. So that first maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe I don't know. You know better than me. Is this leading up to the story behind the story? How it started.
Supply.
So once he comes back to the New Year's, boom. Now we start with the meat, which is everything that happened with the courts, the club, this, that, and then, but it's a second pregnancy. See?
It's the second. Yes.
Yeah. So now we're at the daughter. The boy was already talked about over here in the beginning.
Yes.
In the
Yeah, that we made
Yeah,
up.
which we never had the boys being birthed. The boy being birthed. He was always already born.
Right. So the guy in the story, we're now at the meat of it, which is when the girl was born, which is when we're leaving on the street. The son never went through. I had a house. I had everything. Like everything was normal. What sucked was I left Hollywood to go be a dad, which was fine. But then the family wouldn't let me do acting, you know. I did one movie in that time frame, you know. Like they wouldn't let me do anything else. The one with Sandra Bullock. So I want to show that because it'll put an order to the story. Whereas when I'm reading through, I feel like because I know the story, you know. I'm like, okay, wait.
No, as far as order, we made it up.
Yeah, I know.
We did not know.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
No, we had to.
So now we have this.
Everything.
Yeah. Now we have the audio, and then we have a little bit of a storyline that you guys can plug into this and go, okay, let's put this here, let's put this here. We'll tweak,
rearranging.
and we'll just tweak these words here. It's not the son, it's the daughter. Okay, let's switch to the daughter. Little things, and then on the gray now we'll plug in this whole knock thing, you know, and then this whole thing, and then at the end we do the whole motivational thing, where we show the you know, like the beginning stage, how it started, the rock bottom. Come back again, not happy, boom, and then the motivation. So that's pretty much it, which we have it here. The thing is, I feel like we have so much of the rock bottom that it's missing so much action, you know, that people are going to want to like visually see.
No, and that's why we're here, because we wanted you to input on that.
Right. And then I saw that it's all back here in the gray. So I'm like, wait a second, I'm going to have to wait like almost an hour and a half to see that. You know, that's why I was like, oh, the structure is missing here. So
because
the
beginning
you're working your way back to that. It's you get that at the beginning, you fall out of it because you have to go through all this.
It's 90 pages.
88, 78.
No, 90.
Yeah, so I'm thinking if the gray stuff is in the back.
But because we already have we started with the nightlife scenes.
Yeah.
But then we have to go through.
Yeah, so this would be probably like 10, 15 minutes, right? Then this would be like another. Before the gray.
I mean, we're gonna cut some of that.
Right, before
like
the gray.
Montage,
before the gray, this could be a good 45 minutes, maybe, or 35 minutes, right? And then this could be like another 25, you know, and then this like the last 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, I do have an issue with how would you go about this last part where you're writing stuff, because the way you describe it, it's. What is he just? Is it a series of shots of him writing different things? That's not appealing to watch.
No.
So how would you go about that part?
This is where we need to think tank. So that's what's taking place in that time frame, right? He's deciding to go into his passion, right? Mm-hmm. We could probably speed that up, you know.
Donnie and I always say something.
That can't be the ending, though.
No.
Donnie always say something. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Don't fall in love with something.
Yeah.
Because you want to squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like,
no, I wanted to match the timeline, and that some of these things.
Timeline is cool because we had no idea.
Because these are visuals, so it's not going to matter either way. It's minutes, you
know. But we have to be careful. We don't want to make it feel like a documentary.
Yes, exactly. So.
And you're making it sound like you.
On structure, yeah. Structure
so
sounds.
We don't want that.
No, I want this intertwined with this. You know what I mean?
Which I think we can do.
Sprinkle it. Sprinkle
into like the timeline, so that the son stuff is on that part.
On the right.
The daughter's on that part. You know, the family wasn't really that much involved. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we can save some pages there. Mm-hmm. You know,
Did you like your son, your brother's scenes?
Yeah.
Or you didn't go into depth?
Where I went to visit him at the window, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can tell you right here that I think if you're cool with this would be the perfect way to
end it.
To work in this whole writing and motivating part. That,
go for it.
You know how you talked about the double life, like you were doing this, but then on the side you were doing something else.
Yeah.
And then you talked about how you came back to the top again, but you really what your passion was to help other people.
Yeah.
I think that if right before you came back to the top, like we have in the story, is when the incident with your brother happened. And then that whole incident with your brother motivates you to help other people. And so then
To
it's
not waste
like,
their life.
exactly. So then you're at this
Perfect.
you're doing the whole party aspect, whatever. But then whenever you leave it or you step away from it, it's like watching you go, and you're gonna talk to people, like you're gonna give them a speech and,
Yeah.
and help them,
You
or
see,
you're
like,
or you're writing
like
stuff.
the one with Steven in the hotel, famous actor. You don't say who it is. You say, "Here I am with a famous actor, motivating him." Da da da. And I didn't want to see. I didn't want to ever see someone waste their talent again, or something like that. Like my brother.
And that's when you're seeing shots of you writing your book, and it's after, because you're in this motivating phase. But it's not after this; it's with it. Like it's together.
Simultaneous.
Yes, versus this whole
I agree.
timeline. This came, then
I
this
think
came,
that's
this came.
clutch. That's really good. It's really smart. Yeah.
Because I think that can tie it together.
I think that's perfect because it makes sense. I'm watching my brother waste his talent. You can even put lines because he was an amazing actor, you know. And I'm looking at him, and I remember him as a young actor, and he had so much potential. And then here, his life went to prison for life, you know. And I'm going, I don't want to ever see anybody like that. I want to motivate other people to find their purpose in life and fulfill their passion in life. And then maybe that could be a transition to put you.
Maybe your brother tells you.
You see them say again, and after further ado, here's Angelo, and I come up.
Maybe your brother tells you, find your purpose in life.
Maybe, perfect. Don't do what I did, you know, that kind of thing. You know, you've always been the motivator. Go motivate people not to do what I did, to find their passion. You know, and then in Flip, I even told him in real life. I go, man, since you're gonna be there, you have plenty of time. Why don't you write movies? I told him. I said, write a book, do something, do something with your life. Do something with that negative, make it positive.
Right.
You know, I told him, and he goes, well, you go tell everybody out there not to do what I did, and that's what I did.
That's cool. That'll be cool.
Yeah. So if we could just sprinkle it, just kind of order it and sprinkle it in there, boom, we're good.
I definitely agree that the timeline in Knock needed to be expanded here.
Yeah.
This is something we wanted to talk to you about.
Which is
we just don't know how to expand it because we weren't a part of it. So we need to come together to do that aspect of it.
I would do something really cool. So visually, it'll be something where you see, you know how Guy Ritchie does in Snatch, like the scenes like that, and this camera rolls around and he's just like doing things. Something like that where we come up with really cool dialogue that says, I'm going to start this company. So this is what I did. First I did this, and then I did this, then I did this, then I did this, then I went here, then I did this, then I recruited these guys, then I got these guys, then I started this, then I found this location, then I did this.
Yeah.
Something like that, really cool, that shows like boom, boom, boom.
I don't think you need this part though.
No.
The downtown. Because I think building towards Knock is the most important, and like they could do that, and then that's where again
I did this for myself as a timeline.
Yeah, we mix in the whole stuff with the brother and the going to empower people and motivate people with Knock.
Which would be right around this time, right?
And then and then this stuff like that you were the person that ended up opening down the town life here. It wasn't here.
Could be
It's the stuff that they read at the end. Like he went on to do this and like other things like that.
Perfect. This is why we do this. Perfect. All right. So that's perfect. This is good. My only concern was the structure, which now
the only other thing we kind of wanted to
the gray
implement in the on the script was the dressing. Talk a little about the dressing of the scenes.
Oh, you gonna go back to the studio?
No, we're almost done.
Are you available later?
No, we could do the dressing the next time we sit down with him and talk about Knock.
Okay.
Because that comes with the whole nightlife stuff that we need to discuss anyway.
Okay.
So if you need to go to the...
All right, so then this will give you a little chance to kind of order.
Yeah.
All right, and then like that we can when we go to jokes, and he vets it, he'll see a little more of because that's what he asked him when he asked me the first whatever pages and stuff like that. I go, it's me going through the hard times, and he goes, make sure you have a little bit more on the structure of your timeline. So this is why I did the timeline. Now just play with it. You have it on audio too, and let's just plug it in. Again, this is not a redo at all. This is how do we sprinkle and tweak these things.
And some things that were out of order.
Yeah. But the story is there. Okay, this is yours, right?
Yeah. No, yes.